Hello, I'm Mary Marinville, and I'm excited today because I am interviewing Jan Burke from San Miguel Produce, which is located on the Oxnard Plain in Oxnard. Hello, Jan. How are you today?
Very good. Nice
Correct.
to have you here, Mary.
Oh, thank you. Can you tell me a little bit about the history of San Miguel Produce? I know you have a very rich history with agriculture and your involvement with San Miguel and what you do here.
San Miguel Produce started a little over 35 years ago. We are family owned. Roy Nishimori, my partner and husband, founded the company back in the early 70s. And he is a third generation farmer. He's Japanese American, has kind of an interesting and rich history. And they used to grow before coming to Oxnard down in the Long Beach area, and then when Los Angeles area had a lot of farming at that time. And over the years, growth of housing and particularly post-war really sort of infiltrated Los Angeles area, and people started to look for new locations to farm. And so the family came here in the late 1950s and have been here ever since.
Right. So one of the big difficulties is encroachment of the urban area, and I hear that time and time again from farmers in Ventura County, but we're not going to let what happened in Los Angeles County happen here. You pointed out behind us there's a beautiful historic older photograph, and you were explaining that that is San Miguel right there, and the surrounding area. Can you tell us a little bit about the surrounding area and what has happened over the years?
Speaking of encroachment, we are actually currently right now surrounded by the Magoo Navy base as well as the Air National Guard. The Navy base, of course, came here during World War II and has been here ever since. In the late 1980s, the Air National Guard was looking for a new location for a base. And right next to our location here, we have about 200 acres, or had, I should say, 200 acres adjacent to our facility here. Was beautiful land. It's near the ocean. It's got that coastal climate. It's, great.
Perfect for growing things.
Perfect for growing things, but it was also perfect for an airport. So the Air National Guard took that over by eminent domain in the late 1980s. And so now we're sort of surrounded by the two naval bases, which is fine, but it can get a little noisy sometimes, and it works out, but it's just a unfortunate, progress seems to come in.
And let's face it, farmland is a little bit more conducive in this area for the weather and the Mediterranean climate than a naval air base. But we all have to get along.
We have to get along. Yes.
And you explained that now, because your 200 acres got dwindled down, you have 21 ranches around the county. Can you talk a little bit about?
Sure.
About that?
Most of the land that we do farm is leased. So we rent from different farmers or family-owned properties around the county, 21 ranches rather, a little over about 1,100 acres, maybe to 1,200 acres. About 20% of that is organic, but the balance is conventional. We specialize in the dark leafy greens, and so all of those properties are growing the specialty greens, as I like to call them, which is the chards, kales, 3 different types of kales, collards, mustards, turnips, dandelions. In many cases, they're considered weeds. Healthy weeds, but they are considered weeds, and they are specialty crop, if you will. And we also grow a variety of Asian vegetables like bok choy
and that is under the Jade, the Cut and Clean, but it's all under the umbrella of San Miguel Produce.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So we have different brands for the different varieties that are pertinent to the product. Cut and Clean is very literal to the products that it is cut clean greens, so it's very literal to the name, just like Cheerios is Cheerios. So we try to make the products and the brands more user friendly and descriptive. Jade, on the other hand, is because of Asians consider jade a very precious mineral and gem. We wanted it to have that appeal to the Asian community as well as to the American community, to make it more friendly to try some of the Asian varieties, because they are becoming more mainstream, and they too are very, very nutrient dense, just like the dark leafy greens. And
Right.
and they're fun to try.
They are very fun to try. I had the opportunity of trying them and I'm a big leafy green kale eater,
That's good.
but I had the opportunity to try them at the Ventura County Fair. You
good.
gave
Yes.
some sampling, and I got to try
that's
them
right.
with Roy, your husband.
Yes, that's
so
right.
that was very exciting. And I do want you to know that I do explain to the kids in the classrooms that not all leafy greens are alike on nutritional value. The iceberg lettuce is at one end,
That's right.
and kale, nutrition-wise, with their vitamin A content, is way at the other end of the spectrum. So I am explaining that to the kids. I want you to know that
That's great.
they're not all equal.
No, they're not.
And kids don't understand that because they see leafy green and they think it's all good for
the
them,
same.
but some are more nutritious than others, chard and the kale. And it is delicious. And the kids in the classroom are able to recognize now kale as opposed to chard and some other
wow,
things, which
that's
is
great.
which is exciting. So what is your main job here? What do you love to do? What are you passionate about? And what do you spend your day doing here?
As a small company, we wear a lot of hats. And since we are not only the grower of all of these leafy greens, but we also process and wash them, chop them, put them in a package for consumers so that they're ready to eat. So you don't, because typically these greens can be very labor intensive, dirty, and it's sort of a barrier for want to even bother to prepare them. So by having them be a little more convenient, people will eat them more often. So as a vertically integrated company from the seed all the way to the store, because we have direct relationships with the retailers as well, we're very busy wearing a lot of different hats around here. So typically my primary role is the sales and marketing. We are, deal with a lot of different customers all throughout the United States and into even Canada. And that keeps us jumping, of course. And so but my favorite part, I would say, even though it's obviously keeping up with the day-to-day and doing everything that needs to get done to make sure that our customers and our consumers are happy with our products. I think that my favorite part of this job is being involved with something that's very nutritious and very healthy, and people have to eat, and why not be in a job that you can wear jeans every day and you can make sure you walk home every day and you think, okay, I'm making people healthy every day.
You are feeding people.
Right.
There's nothing to be
There's
more
nothing more special about that.
No, where there's food, I always say, where there's food, there's love,
Yep.
and to be a farmer, you have to love
Absolutely.
what you do
to
because
love
you've
it.
got the good years and the bad
The tough
years.
times. And so then my other aspect of the thing that I love the most is just taking those things and saying, because we grow unusual items. It's not like you said, lettuce that people are familiar with. So with having these unique items and trying to make them more friendly, creating new products, creating salads, trying to introduce different varieties and blends to make them more appealing to consumers so that people aren't afraid to try them.
Right. Well, I have to say, you had quite a line at the Ventura County Fair, and these were mainstream Ventura County consumers that never had tried kale or chard,
Right.
and they were trying it with sesame oil dressing, and they were trying to go back for more.
Right.
So
That's good.
That was a big success.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of fried food at the fair, so it's nice to have something a little more healthy in between all that wonderful fried stuff.
Your
too.
booth was very popular, and I was glad to be right there by it because I learned a lot as
That's
well
good.
about the
That's
dressing and the recipes and making. You said earlier about making your products consumer friendly and easy. That is so key right now, is making it as easy as possible because so many people are busy, and you really care about your customers. I know you do, and you want them to eat better, and sometimes to get them to eat better, you have to help them out.
Yes, and recipes help and making food fun. I think that some of the things, like at the fair, we did kale smoothies with lemonade. So we called it a kale aid, And so it was a bit tart, but it was refreshing.
I tried
and
that
healthy.
too. It was delicious. I was trying everything. It was good.
That's good.
Um,
And even kale chips for young people. I mean, it's a healthy alternative. You can make them at home. You can bake them in the oven, and it's a healthy alternative to potato chips. So and you can make
Endless.
chips with any greens.
Endless.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of fun things that it doesn't have to be the same old.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing more chopped salads too when they add kale in
Yep.
with the romaine or with another green.
Or a slaw.
Or a slaw.
Yep.
I do want to talk to you now about people have a very romantic association with farming, and I do as well. When we think of farms, we think of the red barn, we think of the row crops or the orchards, and for the most part, a lot of farms are still that way. But it's the 21st century now, it's the year 2012, and a lot of people don't realize that farming can be romantic and it is an amazing industry, but there's also a lot of difficulties with the fact that the population, we have 7 billion people on the planet, and farmers are producing more and more food than they've ever had to produce before. And I know from friends that are organic farmers that it's you said 20% of your farm is organic. What kind of challenges, obstacles, hurdles do you have when you're farming organic?
Organic is a animal unto itself. There's more work that needs to be, is involved actually.
More labor?
More labor, because there's not a lot of chemicals, or biochemicals I should say, and items that we can use to prevent pests, to prevent weeds. So our tools, I guess our toolbox is limited. So, and that's okay. It's the right thing to do, and we work through it, and so therefore the cost is higher and the yields are lower. We have a current situation which is sort of extraordinary this past year, that I think many of the leafy green and coal crops, brassica farmers, if you will, have had to deal with, is a new bug that actually has arrived here about 4 years ago, but we really didn't see the devastation that we've had since this past year. And this past summer, it came on with a vengeance. It was almost like the perfect storm. It was. It's a bug that loves heat. It loves our environment.
That it loved this summer.
And they've loved our crops. And so a lot of farmers I've talked to have had to disc under a number of their crops, and are really even considering whether or not they're going to grow these same crops next year, because and
the name of the bug is?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, the bagrata.
The bagrata.
Yeah.
Okay.
It came from South Africa. I'm not sure exactly what path it took to get here, but it's over the past 4 years, it's been kind of growing in its spread, not only around the country, but particularly here. It really was a devastating plague, if you will, to a number of our farmland and farmers. And our crop, we lost 25 acres.
25. That's
acres.
Significant.
And that's just the crops that we totally lost. We have almost any of our other fields, because all of the greens that we grow, it loves. So we have reduced our yields on a number of our farm ranches, but we're fighting the fight and doing whatever we can, and we've got to figure out a way to beat it, because we have so much invested into this particularly specialty crop, and we can't just say next year we're going to grow something different.
Right, because now you've your consumers have expectations. If you were able to supply them with this certain specialty crop, they want it again, especially when you're training the consumers to eat better, and you get them in that direction.
And with all the packaging and all of the 15 years or so that we've been doing the packaging side of it, we can't just stop it. We have to, we really do have to hit it head on, and we're looking at all the different possible solutions. But not only do we deal with those types of unique sort of situations that are challenging in the farming industry, but just labor, getting people to work on the farms. That's a big issue with us. Regulations in California are very difficult to deal with. But I think that farming is a 24-hour job. The plants don't stop growing.
Right.
So you if you get into this field, you have to be prepared that you're going to probably work 6 days a week. You're probably going to, or even more sometimes, depending on the season.
I grew up on a farm. I never saw my father except for Sunday.
There you go. See, so to some people that's a too much work, and but there's a great reward. It is the people that are in the farming industry are very down to earth. Wonderful to work with because we all have to deal with the same issues and we help each other out, and so there's a
camaraderie.
There's a very unique camaraderie that you don't get in many other industries that are very special, and I think that we work together and band together when we have to deal with these kinds of situations like the bag rat or what have you, but it's a worthwhile industry, and I'm hoping that more young people will look to it as an interest for their careers.
I'm trying to change that.
Good.
In Ventura County, and hopefully it's going to the waves will go out even further than Ventura County. I
think that there is a great interest, more so now, especially with the local movements and people wanting to know where their food comes from. It seems like we're starting to see more young people interested in looking at trying to get involved in volunteering for internships and such. And so our door's always open for those types of things. And if anybody's ever
That's
interested,
good to
we'd
hear.
love to have those.
Oh, people, especially the youth, want to know where their food comes from and the journey of their food from field to table. I'm convinced now more of that than ever after 4 years of teaching them. They are very, very interested and want to know. One last thing is about your soil. I promised someone I would ask because, again, I have a friend that's an organic farmer, and with all the safety issues surrounding food safety with agriculture, soil, are you trying to be organic in your 20%? Do you have any concerns over soil and soil issues right now?
I'm not sure exactly what you're alluding to, but the soil that just in general, soil here in Ventura County is some of the richest soil we have in the country.
The use of manure, I think they were more...
From a food safety manure, and yes, that is an issue, and that is something that we, over the decades and decades, have moved away from.
Okay.
All farmers have moved away from that for a lot of different reasons. Not to say that it can't be safe, but it has to be treated properly and it has to be dealt with properly. One of the things that we choose not to use manure. We do use chicken manure sometimes. We do use a variety of fish as well, and some of these types of things. But we have to be very, very careful because this food safety is top of mind, and the last thing we want is for anybody to get ill.
Right.
And now it's not to say that necessarily people are getting ill more often these days. In fact, it's probably quite the contrary, that people are actually healthier and getting healthier food and safer food than they ever have. It's just that now we can trace back. We're better at tracing where people get ill from and what people get ill from because of technology and our instant ability to communicate through technology as well as packaging. Before, if you bought a bunch, you're not sure where it came from. You just got sick.
Right, but now you know.
And
they can trace it back.
And they can trace it back. And so those of us who choose to get into the packaging side, we have to be extra diligent and extra rigorous about how we deal with our food safety programs that are not only in the field, but also in the plant.
And that's why buying domestically and buying locally and really knowing where your food comes from is so important, right? So besides the greens, you are my October Farmer of the Month, and the harvest of the month is beets, and you grow quite a bit of beets.
Yes, we do.
And where can we find the beets that you grow? Which retailers or which...
Most of them, actually. Our beet bulbs and leafy tops will probably be found in most of your local Vons or your Ralphs,
Okay, great.
Albertsons, Whole Foods. We are coming out with a new salad that actually includes beet greens, the tops of them.
Nice, delicious.
So it's a spinach and beet green salad called Iron Man because of all the iron in beets. And It will be showing up in the Vaughn's store here in Southern California after the first of the year.
Okay,
So we're excited about that.
So that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to try the tops of your beets because they're delicious.
Okay, so not only can you roast beets and put them in the salad or boil beets,
which are delicious,
which
of
are
course,
delicious,
yeah.
but now you can eat the beet greens, and Jan is saying their iron content is very high, and you can find them at your local Vons. And your website, if people want to know more about your history and your company, they can go to San Miguel Produce and cut and clean.
Either one. It'll take you to either one. If it's San Miguel, you Google San Miguel Produce or Cut and Clean Greens, you'll make it to our website, and we have about a little over 100 recipes there as well. So if you want to try some new ideas, and we're actually upgrading our website for the greens right now, so it will be changing over the next month or so. Our Jade site is up again. You can Google Jade, and that too is now up and live. And you've got some new and fun new ways that you can cook Asian items as well.
And I just have to add this one last thing before I say goodbye. It's so nice to interview you, Jan. Women are few and far between in this industry, and it's wonderful to interview a woman.
Well, it's an honor and a pleasure, and eat your greens.
Eat your greens.
Yeah, we have a new slogan, actually. Eat your greens and you'll fit in your jeans.
I like that. Eat your jeans and fit in your greens. And thank you, Ventura County.